Greetings, friends. Welcome to an episode of Black Metal and Brews, a program in which I drink beer and discuss black metal, among many other things. Today, we're going to talk about a concert I recently saw and a beer that I'm on the sixth pack. We're drinking Otra from Sierra Nevada, which is a delicious little goza they make, which has prickly pear and something as a grapefruit. That's what I thought. Just didn't want to give you inaccurate information. I'm going to be dropping a pretty steady handful of these type of videos on you soon. More on that in an upcoming video, though. We're not going to go there next. I got a lot of territory to cover. This show happened, 8 February, in the last week or so, at Panic Room here in Portland, Oregon. You can see I'm pouring the beer. Look at that. It's beer and it's lovely and it's really darn tasty. Mostly noise artists, but also not noise, and really balanced punk, black metal, grind, noise show. Actually really refreshing, because I feel like a lot of concerts I get out to here are very maybe even unintentionally just samey, or you'll get a lot of doom metal bands together or a lot of black metal bands together, and even when they're all good, it does blend a bit. I'm gonna spend more time just talking about the show than the beer. The beer is really refreshing, delicious. I love it. It's so crisp. It's low enough in alcohol that you can have a couple in the sitting, although I tend not to for health and other things. Oh gosh, this one's no different. It goes for the few of you who actually know less than me, is like a salty beer almost, but it's also crisp and sweet and fruity. It's kind of like the complement of like salt on a margarita glass or something. Although I'm not sure if that's considered a good way to go or not. I know nothing about margaritas. You get what I'm saying though. A little sweet, a little boozy, a little salty. Really nice mix. This is delicious. Anyway, first act of the night was this fella who I guess has been at it for a really long time here, named Redneck. As far as noise sets go, probably the scariest noise set I'd ever seen. And it's because he just sat there, just, cold eyes. He's got his noise table, for lack of a better term, and he's just kind of sitting with his pedals, just staring at the crowd and just looking, and he made eye contact with me just directly a few times, just sitting. And there were a couple times where he'd build from kind of a lower rumble to something more catastrophic, and he'd just kind of spasm almost, and it was genuinely unsettling without relying on really anything other than his own presence. It's hard to put to words. I took pictures of most of the bands that played that night, but I couldn't even bring myself to pull out my phone. I felt like uncomfortable, which is fantastic, an endorsement of a noise set, at least. Following that was Prolix, Destruct, local punk band, high energy, fast songs, good aggression. I'm not going to pretend to know a whole hell of a lot about punk rock, and it was certainly barbed, thrashy. It wasn't just like straightforward, boring, samey 3-chord punk. These are all people that clearly are into metal and stuff of that nature. I'll admit, though, I'm less knowledgeable. I had a surprisingly good time, though, watching their set, and they're an act that I would recommend checking out. They seem to be gigging out a decent bit here locally, so I'll probably catch them again soon and give you a better heads up on them. They were kind of the act that I unintentionally just spaced on, because I was just like drinking a beer and watching and just kind of being like, wow, I'm not familiar with this, but I enjoy it. Following that was Purity of Essence, a noise act that I've been following for a couple of years, truth be told. First ordered a tape through Leavings of the Wolf which I'm not even sure if that distro or label is still around, but it was a long time ago. And it was just kind of I kind of grabbed it because I liked the name. Didn't know a whole lot about noise or what that was going to be, and it's damn good. And I've kept up mostly with the artist who also runs the Unseen Force tape label and distro, which was in full effect at the show and great. Purity of Essence played their first show as a two-piece. It was really just, whereas Redneck was spastic, tense noise, almost built on fear, this was very deliberate, very calculated. There was a shape and a form and a direction to Purity of Essence's set, and it was really fascinating. I mean, they were, reading from a book and, utilizing chains and manipulated voices, and just, it was like 15 minutes of just like walking deeper and deeper into something horrifying and wanting to go back but not having a choice. And it was really a gripping set, not in the scary way, but I feel like I really saw some true mastery of sound and atmosphere. And hi, Jareth. My cat is doing that thing that she does. I mean, what a surprise that a cat, of all creatures, would interfere. She's coming on up. Hey, kid. Okay, fine. Anyway, so we've got. Oh, that was short-lived. That's my reality. So after Purity of Essence, had the good fortune of seeing kind of grind noise legend Sissy Spacek. It almost seems to me like the point of grindcore at this point is rendered meaningless having seen them, and that sounds like hyperbole, and I guess in a way it is, but I feel like there's an absurdity to this drum, bass, and effects pedals setup. It was almost comical, but still very precise, vicious, absolutely noisy as shit. Devolved into pure static and sound manipulation for a good bit of the set, which was really fun to watch for me. Lots of kind of counting it out, sort of, both hitting everything at do 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 do, just very, everything start stop, aggression, belched, screamed, shouted vocals. Really, I could not even follow what was happening, and in a way that was a lot of the appeal, was just that, I got used to going to seeing grind shows and stuff. It was one of my first extreme music loves, and I feel like it kind of touched back onto the uncertainty of hearing something and not knowing what it was, that I remember hearing when I was like, I don't understand what Napalm Death is, I'm 15, or I had this CD I found by this group called Crawl Child, who are now perform as Waj, I don't know, they do like tiki grindcore. It was like this weird, like fucked up electronic, just power electronics grind sludge horror. And I got it for like $1, and I was 15, 16. And I remember that feeling of confusion and thinking, this is fascinating, this is heavy, I can't even follow what's happening, I don't know what's happening or why, but I love it. And that was kind of what happened with Sissy Spacek. I had heard them on recordings, and I'm familiar with John Weiss, outside of it, but it was just really, it was a really just fascinating set to somebody with a passion for grinding noise and extreme music. It was really, it was clear they were really having a great time doing it, and it was really something else. Closing out the night was an act I've seen once before, and was actually one of the earliest concert profiles on my website, which is Rohit, local black punk noise aggressors, and oh my god, just their energy was so fantastic. The riffs were so catchy, which is not a bad thing at all. It was very memorable. You can't, I feel like I can't. It's so easy to talk about black punk and think of things like Bonal or that, and it captured a similar depravity and ferocity, but it was also, it was new territory too at the same time, and it was really fun for me to witness I feel like when I saw them before, they performed as a three-piece, and this time they were a four-piece with their singer standing alone and using pedals, doing noise. Um, Absolutely just brilliant high energy set. Because it was the day before I got to go see a doctor and get my diagnosis on my condition. I I was living it up a bit. I didn't drink in excess, but I definitely can't give as clear of a detail on how it all ended, which is kind of nice actually. But I know that just their set blew me away. Even having seen them before, I had a great time. Picked up the tape, picked up a shirt, which I already wore like yesterday. Otherwise, I'd be wearing it now. So it's in the laundry. You can't see it. Also, got a bunch of tapes from Unseen Force, a bunch of little records, 7 inches as well. And had a great time as a whole. I think that if you have the opportunity to catch Sissy Spacek on tour, God, you've got to. What a great touring act. The locals are all fantastic. Rohit really should have more attention than they've received. I'd like to pretend that this YouTube video will help, but I doubt it. And honestly, I'm not sure if that's even something that's of interest to them, to play outside of the Portland area. But I hope for the sake of all of you that you'll have a chance to at least, they've got a great band camp that you should check out. Purity of Essence also performs as Fleisch, F-L-Y-S-C-H. And we'll be heading to the East Coast in a week or two here, maybe less. Look it up. They'll be playing with like Valentine Sinclair. So it's Purity of Essence side project, well worth your time. So great stuff. Redneck and Prolix Destruct seem to be a little more elusive, but Google is your friend, and if I find something good, I'll leave it in the YouTube description here so that you can also, become consumed by these sounds that consume me here, a week later. I thank you all for watching. I'm gonna have a little more thorough video about my health, beer, and more of those best albums that came out in 2015. Till then, cheers. You're the best.